Okay, welcome to the November update. I'm actually filming this in early October. I just wanted to get some progress video in before things get too far underway. I did a lot of demolition over the last week and a half, and now I'm starting to reconstruct things. So I added this turnout here, which I was waiting for, which is, sorry, I don't want to move the camera too much, right here. So I finally got this turnout in, and that splits, and it's a little confusing, but this section here is the old section. That's the inside loop. It goes around and back up and over this section here, which was the old reversing loop. So this new section is part of the outside loop, which is actually this part here. But it's split, and it reconnects back to the outside. But this new section now comes across and goes into the old part of the old reversing loop, and then back and connects back into the outside track. The inside continues along and goes up and over that section up here on the trestle, and comes back around and on the inside section here, whereas this track now and the outside are still on connect back and connect on the outside. They actually connect way over here in the distance. So it's a little confusing that an inside track gets split and part of it connects back to the outside, but that's the track plan. And I'm super psyched. I'm not sure how this is going to work. I looked at some kits, and I kind of want like an inside loading structure in this section, so I can have a structure here that essentially this track comes into an industry, but you don't see the end of it because it just goes into the industry. And I actually have a template for a Walthers kit. I may modify something. I don't think I'm going to scratch build anything, but I might modify something. But for now, there's a kit, I forget what it's called, but there's a kit that's like essentially like I think it's like the cranes in something, or the something in crane industry or factory or whatever. And this kind of will fit right here, and the track can go into it, and it'll fit in this section pretty nicely. And you won't see that essentially on the other side of that building that it's a turnout into that industry, but I think it should work. And then that way, as trains run along here, they run along the back of the building, and you won't see that the track just terminates right here, because that looks a little weird if I keep this open. I don't really like having turnouts just sidings just terminate, right at another track perpendicular pretty much. So that just kind of visually looks weird. But if it's inside of an industry, I think it'll make a lot more sense. It kind of disguises that aspect of it, and hopefully it works. But the kind of the goal is that I can get 2 40-foot length cars in that siding, or on that siding. And if I can do that, that will be huge. And if it looks good, that's even better. I got the track in there. The track is not fastened down or glued down yet. Most of the other track that I laid down is, I took the turnout here. This is, I think I nailed that part down just because it's on the Woodland Scenics risers, I think, for inclines. And then I also glued down this section. This track extended quite a bit. I forget where it had initially terminated. I want to say not too much past here, and it continues a lot farther. So I can fit, I think, 4 cars on this section now comfortably, and that's going to be great. And the industry got pushed back. Let me pull that out so you can see. It's this industry, which was here. The facsimile that sat like essentially here, and it's getting pushed all the way back into this section. And so the new split main line will run alongside of it, which will be kind of cool. Uh, and then it's got, the loading section, the platform on the other side, and will fit along that section there. So it kind of works perfectly in that spot now. I just put down the sculpted mold, so I don't want to put it on there because it's still wet. I tried to build up the level of it so it kind of fits, level with the track. But I'm super psyched. That's gonna turn out really nice in there. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. But it's been a lot of work. I got rid of the reversing loops electrical stuff here this morning, and accidentally terminated or got rid of part of the main line that was connected to my programming track. I think my programming track is not operational at this point. Nope, there we go. Not really sure why that didn't work the first time. Yeah, I think it should work now. I'll have to check that out, make sure that still is operational. But I got rid of all this stuff in here for the reversing loop, and kind of undecided whether I'm going to add. I was kind of lazy and trying to save money, so I didn't get another Pico switch or turnout for the industry here. It's an old Atlas that I had already had. It actually works pretty well. I mean, it's free floating. There's no spring in it, so that's kind of hairy-carry. But I've run trains over it, and it's okay. So I'm gonna probably either get another tortoise. I've got nothing underneath that section. I already drilled a hole for it, so it's kind of good to go. I just have to figure out whether I want to go Atlas, click switch, or tortoise. I don't really care that much. I've got the one tortoise for the Sinescu industry, which I just clicked, if you can see it in the back there. So it could be kind of cool to have two tortoise switches. I kind of decided to go with a remote switch just because it's a little far out on the table. It's a little hard to access. So if it was a Pico snap switch, with the springs that I am a huge fan of because you can do them manually and they just click right into place. I kind of felt like it was kind of a bit too far to have to reach over this stuff and reach. So I figured I'll just hook it up remotely. And so I didn't really care if it was an Atlas or not. And again, I'm not a huge, like, everything's got to be tortoise. Like I said, I've only got the one. The other ones in the far back area, those are all Atlas under the table. So I'll probably just go with an Atlas under the table for now. At some point I might change things, but eventually I think in the back I would want to go the Pico, because there's no need to stand here in this section and switch those turnouts if I'm going to be switching anything into those industries in the back. I'll be standing right there. So I'm a big fan of just manually throwing them. I do have the switches wired. They're hidden on the underside of the table there, where I switch them electronically, just because they're Atlas and they don't have the springs in them. But anyways, I'm rambling about that stuff. So yeah, I've made a lot of progress on this section, and now I'm just kind of build up the ground layers that I kind of took away. And then the next step, I think, will be to fasten the track the rest of the way, double check all the electronics, and then paint it. Short on funds lately, so getting ballast to do that next step is going to be probably a little bit, and then getting some industries. But the other thing that I wanted to add was more of the Hopewell city here, or town, just downtown. So there's going to probably be another business or two in this section here, which will have sidewalk and be along this area. And then I'll have this industry for that siding. And I'm not really sure what's going to go here yet. Um, Maybe a small structure. I don't know. Maybe, yeah, I'm not really sure. But the road will probably continue and go across, kind of like it did before, to the facsimile industry, which will be up in that area. So, okay, so it's been about a week since the last segment, and I've leveled up the ground around this area. So everything's pretty much even with the track. So the track's not going to look raised anymore. It's going to kind of run flat through this section, which is kind of how I intend it to be. That way the platform on this industry is, at kind of the right height. I added or kind of completed after I cut a big chunk of this hillside out. Actually, all of it was here. It ran through here, if you remember. So that's kind of where it's going to end. And the track here, the siding for this industry, I believe I can fit 4 40-foot cars in this section now. So that's super cool. And I got this industry added. So everything looks pretty good. The ground's been leveled up. I'm going to start painting. Even though it's damp, it should still work out. I'm going to probably touch up the road, get that finished, and paint the ground and the track and rails. I'm going to have to do a lot of masking and cleaning up of areas, but overall it's pretty good. The track is pretty sturdy where it needs to be. The turnout's good. I think this section's a little loose. I think I may just keep that loose for now. Let things run a little bit more. And I forget if this, this part's pretty much in there as well. Once I add the ballast, when I get that, that's gonna completely solidify everything. But yeah, so we'll come back in a minute, and hopefully there'll be some less white in this scene here. All right, since the last segment, I've got a lot of progress underway. The ground has been finished and leveled pretty decently, and then I added a bunch of layers of the turf. And I went to a local train show and picked up this DPM kit and have been working on this for the last couple of days. I had kind of a paint mishap, so I finally got things back to the way I usually do things. I'm not really sure what I did wrong. I used thinner and oil paint for the grout, and that just kind of blended too much. It kind of dissolved the primer and kind of made a mess. So let it dry, cleaned it all out, reprimed it, and then I used my alcohol and pigment wash to do the grout. And now this morning I painted the windows and trim, and I'm going to get going on the brick, which is kind of the last step. And I just finished gluing the sides. They should be dry, and I made a foundational piece for it. So I'll have the sidewalk in there. If I turn it around, you can see that's going to go on there pretty much like that. Score in the sidewalk markings, prime it, paint it, weather it, and then I'm going to cut the inside of it out too. So I'm going to cut this section in here so I can access the inside of the building from the bottom rather, and then finish the kit. So pretty pleased with the way that fits in that space. And then I think I'm going to have an access road come through here to this industry and to the back of this building here, because there's a loading platform back here. I think I'm trying to figure out which way I want it to be. Either have the access road on this side or the far side. I kind of think I might keep it on the near side here, just because I think it's kind of cool how the train kind of goes tightly through on the siding behind here, tightly through this kind of neighborhood. So if I pull this forward, it's going to be close to the main line, which I'm not really a fan of. So I think I'm going to keep it pretty much where it is. And then I've got the 2-car siding on here. The 2 cars fit on there. That doesn't look like it from this angle, but 2 cars do fit pretty nicely on that section. If I bring the camera over a little bit, you can see there's clearance there, so I can get a train through there without hitting the 2 box cars. I could probably even back this up a tiny bit. So that's all set. I've been working on the road going through. I'm going to do my, what are they? The coffee stir grade crossing in this section. And the ballast is done for the most part. I've got weathering to do. The ballast that I got, I ordered the same exact stuff, dark gray number 40 from Scenic Express. And it's a slightly different gray than previous. Now, I bought the original stuff many years ago, probably, I don't know, 7 years ago at this point. And so it looks different. If I slowly bring over here, you can see this section here. Pardon my reflection in my laptop. You can see the two different colors there. It's slightly bluer on the newer stuff that I got. So I'm going to have to weather some of that, weather the track a bit more, blend things in, but for the most part, that's it. So I think this is going to pretty much do it for the November update. We're in November already. I usually like to get my updates done before the first of the month, and we're already on the 2nd. So I'm going to wrap this one up, and then you'll see probably a little bit more progress. Hopefully that structure will be done in the December update, and maybe some more weathering and things, but that's going to pretty much do it. I don't think there's anything I missed going over. So like I said, it's going to wrap it up. Happy November. Hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving. Hope you had a great Halloween. And sorry if you're a Blue Jays fan. I'm a Mets fan, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, happy November. Take care.